Hello, beautiful community. Let's react to the assassination of Charlie Kirk by grounding ourselves responsibly. It's a uniquely brutal disaster for the lost person and for their loved ones. At the same time, we are concerned citizens and we need to give ourselves a context around this. So let's try. The first thing we need to know is what we already know but are sometimes quarter inclined to forget, and that is that violence is the biggest taboo in politics, period. Political violence is the politics of enemies, and the politics of enemies is the enemy of democracy. Political violence is also contagious. It disinhibits the social fabric. And political violence is contagious and homeless. It can be tied to different political positions because it's produced by destructive human capabilities rather than a commitment to a particular ideology. And this leads to an inevitable and disconcerting fact about American politics. And that's that it is probably more prone to the risk of outbreaks of political violence than any major democracy in the West. The United States is lucky that it has stronger political institutions than some European countries. But the United States is unlucky insofar as it has the sickest political culture of any major Western society. And to keep your democracy, you need both culture and institutions. The United States is currently at risk of just relying on institutions over the next half a decade and decade to keep authoritarianism that is already fast in action at bay. So, political violence is incompatible with any vision of a society in which any of us want to participate. Therefore, it's an attack on everybody when it occurs. There aren't sides here. Everyone is against it, has to be against it. And here, I think it's important to just do a little grounding around what I call the economy of sentiment. Something happens and you feel many different things about it. But if you don't want to have a porridge in your head, you have to start making distinctions about what's more important and what's less important, about what matters in a certain context and what doesn't. Where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is that when certain things happen, there is an important point to be made about it, and it doesn't require a but. If a political violence, a bit of political violence has occurred, you don't need to hurry yourself with a but having acknowledged its dreadfulness. The but being that you didn't agree with the particular person who suffered the tragedy, or you didn't agree with their ethics. You can say that, but you can say that not this Thursday, but next Thursday. Right? So there is such a thing as the economy of sentiment that allows you to be clear about what matters, right? And you can keep two thoughts in mind at the same time without needing to say them at the same time. The reason I'm making that emphasis is because, technically speaking, you can add a but that expresses your sincere and maybe truthful view. But there is a time for buts. And when you think about what's the right time for buts, you've got to reflect on the fact that political violence is something we want to reject, and then say period, and period, and period, and period. Because it is the biggest taboo in politics, because it is the politics of enemies, and because the politics of enemies is incompatible with democracy. And beyond a certain point, it becomes incompatible with any functioning social order. Lots of love.